Who we are currently is an organization that serves everyone.
NewStory Center has helped thousands of people in just this community alone, and that speaks volumes on behalf of this organization.
They are not simply, hey, here's a place to stay, but here is a hand up, here's someone that will walk with you and continue to walk with you as long as they are able.
It's a place to come if you need help, and there are good people here. There's no stigma, there's no judgment. People are here to help.
We are the domestic violence and sexual violence service provider for all of Rutland County. We serve women, we serve men, we serve all gender identities and gender expressions, and we serve the children who are living in circumstances of domestic violence.
Survivors that are coming forward, they are in need of support. And it's often not just in one area, but it is in numerous areas. And the complexity of the problems, the complexity of the lives that are coming forward are needing support.
We provide emergency shelter, we have a food pantry, we're there to support people when they're in court, we are able to provide legal resources.
If you're experiencing any kind of domestic violence, having a place to turn, to be safe, and then chart a sustainable path forward is so important.
We serve survivors as they've moved well beyond their domestic violence, as they've turned to the page and are starting to write their new chapter.
The complexity is not fixed in a 30-minute session over a weekend, or simply just, hey, you can spend a few days at this hotel. Ongoing walking step by step with the individuals and their families is essential.
We have an economic empowerment project. So many people that we serve are experiencing financial abuse and are sort of held in these abusive relationships because they don't have the means to move on, or they haven't had the education that allows them to get the job so that they're able to support and sustain themselves in a healthy way, in a way that makes them proud.
This has created a safe place to go for help or advice or lodging at some point. And I think it also shows the caring of the community, the warmth of the community.
NewStory Center received 581 crisis calls last year. Those crisis calls come from survivors who, in that moment, they had the ability to make a phone call. And NewStory Center needs to answer that phone call. We don't know when a crisis is going to happen, and we don't know when the ability for that individual to call will happen. But we want to make sure that that call doesn't go to voicemail. We want to make sure that that call doesn't get missed. And so having staff and volunteers that are equipped and resourced and ready and prepared to answer that phone call is essential.
Besides, of course, the critical piece of having a 24-hour hotline, to actually sheltering people, to then helping them with that path forward through education and opportunity is absolutely critical for those in this community. And that, again, is one of the things that does make a community great and builds that foundation that we can't ignore.
There needs to be a safe place with intelligent professionals to help people.
They've got an amazing team of people. It's very hard work. I'm honestly probably not cut out for it myself, so it takes a special type of person that's willing to do the work that they do. We're very fortunate to have all of them.
They continue to look at the survivors day after day with fresh eyes, with fresh means of how do we help them, how do we support them, and that is amazing.
I think that there needs to be a safe place to go, a place that doesn't have any kind of institutional look to it, where people feel like they're coming into home and get help that they need.
When people have a warm home to go to and food in the refrigerator and clothing to wear, it's taken for granted sometimes because you can just get in your car after work and go home and almost forget about it. But the folks that are experiencing domestic violence, which isn't always physical, it can be mental abuse and financial abuse and all sorts of ways that violence is affecting people, women, men, and of course their families, their children. It's so important to remember that this does happen in our communities and must be addressed, and is being addressed by NewStory Center.
The hope that is given to individuals, that is sometimes the most essential thing that they need. Yes, they need some food, they need a place to stay. Yes, they need some services, and NewStory can certainly and often and does supply those things. But what you need is someone that will sit next to you and give you hope and let you know that this is not the end of your story. There is hope, and you can overcome the challenges that you have faced.
We are all in this together. We're in this together to support each other doing this work. We are in this together for our community, and we are in this together for the people we serve.
As a member of the board of NewStory Center, I want to thank you for helping NewStory Center serve over 550 survivors this past year. It is because you continue to support NewStory Center in the way you volunteer, in the way you give, and in the way you equip the staff that we are able to see these survivors and their children not only make a phone call and not only get support, but begin to turn the page for their lives moving forward. Thank you.